Okay, imagine that right now you have just become a CEO of a large company, and it is your first time to lead such a large company. Like, it is your first time in keeping a leadership position. So, and after you became a CEO, like many challenges hit your leadership soul. And this is what Mia Foster, the CEO of Lavender Cafe, just experienced. Okay, I'll tell you. Lavender Cafe is a company that runs business in a food industry. Like, they provide soup, salad, and sandwiches as a restaurant. And the company really succeed because the company had already opened about 3,500 lavenderies cafes across the America. And yeah, the founder of the Lavender Cafe was Howard Laventel. And after 32 years of building the Lavender Cafe, finally, Howard Laventel decided to take a step back. Yeah, he retreated from a CEO position, and his position was replaced by a woman. Then the woman was Mia Foster. Yeah, Mia Foster basically replaced the CEO position that the initially was held by the founder of Lavender Cafe. Okay, because of this CEO transition, like many investors in Wall Street were hesitate of Lavender Cafe because uh, they assumed that Lavender Cafe would not grow stronger in America, and the investor also hesitate, like they underestimated the Foster's ability to building Lavender Cafe as an international brand. And because of that assumptions, Foster's like feel encouraged to prove that their assumptions were wrong. And at the time, also, like, the challenges was not only came from the investors of Wall Street, but also came from its branch business in China. Yeah, Lavender Cafe in China had a trouble because its president, the president of Lavender Cafe in China, which was who was Louis Chen, really conducted many changes that it really different with the original concept of the Lavender Cafe in America. So because like started from the design and the menu already changed, and Mia Foster really concerned about the image of the Lavender Cafe. So willy-nilly she had to make a big decision at a time. So yeah, he eventually flight to China and met up with Louis Chen. Okay, before we dive deeper into what next action that Mia Foster took to overcome these challenges, before we go to that topic, I would like to share a brief history, like a brief profile of Lavender Cafe. Okay, as I mentioned previously, the Levendary Cafe is a company that runs a food restaurant, and the restaurant provide soup, salad, and sandwiches. Okay, the question is, what like how can Lavendary Cafe could sustain for 32 years in America and had many stores across the America. Okay, the answer nestled in its strengths. The first strength was differentiation. Yeah, the company differentiate its product started from soup, salad, and sandwich. Yeah, they differentiate the ingredients. Okay, they used only a high quality ingredients to made to made up its products, and the company also had a commitment to like create a comfortable environment in its stores, in its restaurant. And this is the I thought the crazy one, because the company only hired chefs, of course, chefs who is involved directly in making food processes. Yeah, they only hired chefs that graduated from a top culinary schools. So because all of that three combination, the customer that go to Lavendary Cafe could feel rich when they enjoy the food at the Lavendary Cafe. So beside of differentiation, the strength that belonged to Lavendary Cafe company also its founder, like the founder Howard Laventel, really a risk taker, because Howard Laventel decided that the company only used and only used organic grains and hormone-free meats, and turned out that decision increase the revenue and also the trust of a customer. So yeah, that's the strength of the Lavendary Cafe. And beside the strength, also the organizational foundation behind the Lavendary Cafe also incredible. Like they cooperate, they cooperate, and really had a good hard work. And I'll show you the organizational chart. Look here, this is like the team that involved in a Lavendary Cafe management, Lavendary Cafe execution. As we know that the CEO at Lavendary Cafe was Mia Foster, and beside that, Mia Foster had like uh, its hand to help in improving the Lavendary Cafe. The first one is CCO. CCO basically was responsible to maintain the originality concept of Lavendary Cafe. And also, CCO created a slogan called Tasty Fresh Goodness, or local people commonly said it as a TFG. Yeah, that's the job of CCO. And also there's a marketing team. Okay, basically marketing team conducted or like delivered a TFG concept and slogan through campaigns and advertisements. And the other team is food team. Food team was responsible to like maintain, like conduct conducted inspection to a food quality in all of the Lavendary Cafe in America. Beside that, there was also operating team, operating team. Yeah, basically this team was responsible to like make sure that all of the Lavendary Cafe in America were obedient with the operating standards. Yeah. And the rest of the team that also played a role in Levendary Cafe was operating tools and learning, franchise, business development, and also administrative staff groups. And yeah, that all of the organizational foundation that content in this chart. Okay, the beside the strength and the organizational foundation, we should questioning we should question what what market strategic that was implemented by Lavender Cafe. Okay, I'll tell you. The strategic market that was implemented, that was applied by Lavender Cafe, uh, nestled in its philosophy. The philosophy was delighting the customer. Yeah, because the philosophy delighting the customer, it also meant that the company must adopt the local menu that of course suit with the taste of the local environment there. And because of this, because the company should adapt the local menu, this led to like some kind of an action that is executed by Lavender Cafe. So yeah, Lavender Cafe always launch new products 5 times in a year. So yeah, that's the following up of the philosophy. And we already talked about the brief profile of the Lavender Cafe. Now we move to the main conflict, as I mentioned before, that the company had its business in China. Okay, how can there how can Lavender Cafe in China was established? Okay, I'll tell you. Basically, in 2008, in 2008, the growth of Lavender Cafe in America was decreasing, and more than that, the Lavender concept is was very tough to be applied in a small town like in the Midwest or South. Yeah, it's very tough, and because of that situation, uh, the team the team of Lavender Cafe, you know, like conducted an analysis to opportunities in China. Yeah, that there was a team who was instructed to analyze the opportunities in China, and it revealed that many people in China lived in city, and also many women started to work in the big cities, and of course food industry really grew stronger in China at the time. Okay, because Lavender Cafe viewed like a golden opportunity in China, then the company finally decided to establish its business Lavender Cafe in China. Okay, when the business the decision to establish was final, then Louis Chen, a figure of a figure of a president of the Lavender Cafe in China, was Louis Chen. Yeah, Louis Chen simply was pointed to run Lavender Cafe in China with 2-year contract, and it commenced in September 2009. Okay, and like the Lavender Cafe, the founder of Lavender Cafe, Howard Laventel, only advised Louis Chen like do right by the concept. Yeah, do right by the concept. Okay, because the decision to establish business in China and also the president of business in China was final were final. Louis Chen had an internship in Levendary Cafe in America. Like basically he learned a lot of things that would be implemented in a Levendary Cafe in China. And he also stated that flexibility was also needed to implemented in China because Chinese people were not familiar with Turkey. Then Louis Chen decided to replace turkey with chicken. So yeah, it worked. Like only for a short time, like probably for only 1 year, Louis Chen could open 23 Lavender Cafe in China. Like the restaurant really gained an instant successful. So yeah, after a long time, Louis Chen became a CEO of Lavender Cafe in China. Then it come to a time when Mia Foster, the central CEO of Lavender Cafe in America, discovered that the financial report that was submitted by Louis Chen was very different with the original form of the America. Like basically, Louis Chen used its own format that it deviated with the original concept, the original form from America. And beside of that, the design and the menu of the Lavender Cafe in China also changed a lot from the original concept of America. And of course, Mia Foster didn't want that such a thing to happen continuously. He warned, I mean, Mia Foster warned Chen, like, please be obedient with the regulation that was applied in Lavender Cafe for more than 32 years. Then, yeah, ironically, Louis Chen insisted to its own concept. He didn't want to obedient with the regulation. He insisted to use its own concept in all of the Lavender Cafe in China. So after that small argument, an executive meeting was held, and basically the meeting fully discussed about the China problem that was led by Louis Chen. And the following action of the executive meeting, like the strategic team was instructed to investigate, to inspect the originality of Lavender Cafe in China. So yeah, the strategic team fly to China and observed all of the stores in just 10 days. And the report discovered that the Lavender Cafe in Pudong mostly based on the standard, so it's not a big deal. It was not a big deal. And the second one, Levendary in U Garden, like the store in U Garden served as a takeaway store. Like there was no chairs there. Whereas the like the strength of Levendary Cafe, as I mentioned before, like was to serve a comfortable environment. Yeah, that's the problem. Lavender Cafe in New Garden, and the Lavender Cafe in Beijing, the store removed the salad menu, and the stores also replaced the chairs with the plastic chairs. And the last problem located in located in Shanghai, like Lavender cafes in Shanghai, mostly removed the sandwiches menu and they replaced it by the local dumplings. Of course, like the team of Lavender Cafe in America uh, got angry because Louis Change made changes without permission. So after that, Mia Foster transmitted the report to Louis Chen, And you know what? How was Louis respond? Definitely, Louis responded angrily. Yeah, because he assumed that team in America didn't appreciate his hard work in building Lavender Cafe as a successful business in China, because at the time market in China was very tough and it was very hard and very difficult to be entered. And Louis Chen also stated that if Lavender Cafe with with America version established in China, it will not work. So that's the response of Louis Chen. He responded angrily. So because of this, of course, Mia Foster as a CEO responded Louis Chen carefully because she didn't want to make it as a bigger problem in its own company. So yeah, after that, Mia Foster thought that thought of several things. Then finally, she identified that there are three main problem that needed to be resolved. The first problem regarded to the strategy, like what strategy should Levendary adopt to encourage its expansion in China? And the second one regarded to the responsible, like who will responsible with this such of decision and who will responsible because of the implementation of a new strategy. And the last one was about connection, like what kind of what kind of connection that would bridge the management team in China with the central office of Lavender Cafe. So yeah, that was the three main challenge that the new CEO of Lavender Cafe must be resolved. That's the story of Mia Foster. Thank you.